Wonderful thing, television. Aside from broadcasting sound, television, simply consists of taking pictures and sending those pictures out over the air at the same time. As you might expect, a camera is used for the photography, just as in any other kind of picture taking. Only there's no film in the television camera. Developing film and printing pictures takes too long. Besides, you can't broadcast paper pictures. You can, however, broadcast electrical pictures, and those are the kind that the television camera takes. Behind the lens of the camera is a special plate in a glass tube, one of the great developments in the promising science of electronics. This plate is a fascinating device. It's completely covered with millions of tiny electric eyes, which, of course, are sensitive to light. The electric eyes see the various differences in light levels and develop electric charges to match them. Combined, these charges form electric pictures of the scene, which are sent out immediately. Each picture does not go out all at once, however, as a snapshot might through the mail. Like a telegraph message, it's sent bit by bit, arriving at the receiver's piecemeal. The charge in each electric eye becomes an electric impulse and dashes merrily away by itself, the other impulses following in single file, one after the other. As they reach a receiver, they strike the screen in order and are transformed. First, the process is much faster than you see it here. It has to be to keep you from noticing the mechanics of it, to keep up with any action in the scene, and to give the illusion of motion. We've just slowed it down so you could see how it's done. Now we'll speed it up. 30 complete pictures go out every second in the form of single electric impulses. And every second, 4 million impulses reach the receiver screen, one after the other. As the charges are removed from the plate, the electric impulses dash from the camera to the control room through a special cable. Here, great pains are taken to keep them from getting muddled or out of proportion and to prevent any interference. The impulses are very weak at this point, so the engineers strengthen them through electronic tubes, like the tubes in your radio, to make them powerful enough to send over the air. Outside, they rush up a towering antenna and are released in the form of an extremely short radio wave, aimed directly for the transmitter. The transmitter, which acts as a link between the studio and the television audience, is always at a high altitude. This is because the distance over which television programs can be received satisfactorily is usually limited to the area between the top of the transmitter and the horizon. The higher the transmitter, the more distant the horizon, and the greater the area reached. This site in the Helderberg Hills, a few miles from Albany, New York, is a particularly good one. Within the horizon lies the entire New York State Capital District, so it's easy for people in Albany, Troy, Schenectady, and nearby towns and villages to tune in the programs. So much for that. Now for a trip to the relay station, a first and major step in the establishment of Practical's television network. Because this station is at a still higher altitude and practically free from any noise or other interference, it manages to receive programs which are broadcast from New York City, 129 miles away, even though it is somewhat below the horizon, as seen from the top of the Empire State Building. As the station receives these programs from New York, it relays them to a receiving antenna at the transmitter, which, as you will notice, is within the horizon as seen from the relay. At the transmitter, they are given greater power and rebroadcast all over the Capital District, completing the network, the first television network in history. It is here in the transmitter, while final checkups are being made, that all programs, from New York or otherwise, are at last released to the various television home receivers in and around the district. If you've never seen a television screen in a RAW, this is what it looks like. Actually, it's part of a large glass tube developed in the wondrous electronic laboratories. The whole process, from camera to receiver, seems to take a lot of time and trouble, doesn't it? Yet, in spite of the complications, in spite of the distance, we see whatever is being televised almost instantaneously. The television studio itself is more like a motion picture studio than a radio station. You will not only find air conditioning, soundproof walls, control rooms, and the usual microphones, but scenery, cameras, furniture, properties, and a host of powerful lighting units. These lights are all water-cooled to eliminate unnecessary heat and maintain comfortable working conditions. One section of the building is devoted to movies. Since studio programs require most of the detailed preparation needed for stage play, enough of them cannot be produced to fill all the scheduled time. Consequently, movies are one of the three major program divisions, doing for television what recordings or transcriptions do for radio. This equipment is also used for still photographs, maps, and titles occasionally. In the third division of programming, televising special events, lies a great future. Everything from feeding the seals in the zoo to a complete World Series or the Kentucky Derby may be seen by our very own firesides while they're actually happening. We can see the distant present. A mobile unit like this is nothing more than a television station on wheels. After being driven to the scene of action and set up for the broadcast, it relays both sight and sound directly to the transmitter from a collapsible antenna. What goes on there during a program?
Never mind the when, wherefore luck and level makes, and therefore though his lordship takes his mighty ghost, you can see his brain. For her taste, I mean, it's mighty, and therefore she's full and plain.
The sound, of course, is picked up by microphones and is being sent out along with the picture signals.
Ring the merry bells and rockin' friend, the ever-moving wax, for the union of my lordship with the humble captain dialed. For the humble...
On these monitors, the director can see what each camera is picking up. The center screen shows what is being sent out over the air. The director decides which scene shall be sent out over the air.
Take one.
Changing from one camera to another adds variety to the picture. To further relieve any possible monotony, both cameras are movable so that the show can be seen from various angles and distances.
Shall we do a big close-up of Josephine?
Notice that the cameramen wear headphones to receive instructions from the program director.
And the Lord ruled the water.
The sets against the far wall were used in an earlier part of the program. With such an arrangement, it's possible to switch from an interior to an exterior setting in a few minutes. The cameras and the lights have only to turn from one set to another. Unlike the stage, there is seldom any need for intermission. Amazing, isn't it, that this same program is being watched and heard in hundreds of homes at this very moment.
Never mind the why and wherefore, nothing never breaks, and therefore I admit to the system, every time you take a part, you have carried some conviction to my hesitating heart.
Ring the merry bells and worship, ring the ever-born wax, for the union of my lordship with the humble captain dialed.
Yes, television is now a practical reality for many of us to enjoy. And man's dream of sightseeing at home has at last come true.
All the man who owns the love,